So what's this thing that's so important?
So we got to talk about it. Everybody's been talking about it, and this way we can fucking hashtag it to get some traction with this motherfucker. We got to talk about the Will Smith slap.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like it has to do with relationships, with Will Smith's relationship to Jada and all that. No, Demi, you're not going to yell back at me. Let's not confuse that issue real fast.
Okay.
Yeah, the Will Smith slap. So like it's a hot button, and I think everybody's already over it. It's been less than 24 hours, and I think the world's already fucking done with it. But because we're recording this on Monday, but so just to make sure, in case you were living under a rock, at the Oscars, Chris Rock was hosting. He made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith. Her and Will Smith were sitting in the front row. And he made a comment about G.I. Jane, and she is notoriously has a clean-shaven head for the last few decades. And I didn't know at the time, and I don't know that Chris Rock knew, that she has alopecia, a autoimmune disorder that affects your ability to grow hair. So Will Smith stands up and is smiling, and Chris Rock's like, "Oh, I'm in trouble now," kind of thing, just joking about it because he had made a crack about Jada Pinkett Smith. Will Smith comes up on stage and slaps the taste out of Chris Rock's mouth, and then walks away with a certain kind of confidence and swagger.
And it was a very good slap.
Like it was a slap. It had some boxer motion to it. Let's not break down.
There was a form to it.
There was a finesse. And initially, a lot of people were still laughing. Chris Rock said, Will Smith just slapped the shit out of me. And people were still kind of laughing awkwardly because it could have been staged. That's very well a thing that could have happened. But then Will Smith yelled, "Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth." And as soon as Will Smith cussed, that whole fucking room got real quiet real fast. And then Will Smith repeated himself, and Chris was like, I will keep my. I will not say her name again. And everybody knew it was very serious at that point. So it's apologies statements have since been released and all that. And initially, a lot of my social media feeds were on the side of Will Smith, saying, "That's what you get when you talk shit about a man's wife and blah 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 blah, and that shows real love and da da da." People were coming to his side, saying that if you play around too much, or if you talk about somebody's wife, or if you cross a line, you'll pay the price. Mm-hmm. And in comedy, you always punch up. You never punch down. You don't make fun of people who are disabled or things you can't control. You don't do that. And so absolutely, Chris Rock was not in the right to have made fun of her, regardless of any medical condition she might have. However, I've had to talk to several of my friends like, so you think that the escalation to violence is okay after words were exchanged? Like, he didn't say, "Hey, Chris, could you stop? I don't appreciate that." He didn't take him aside afterward or beforehand or anything like that. And it's not like Chris Rock was like fucking drilling Jada and going in on her just like fucking nonstop. It was one joke, and he was trying to move on. But then Will Smith had to fucking slap him. I think that both parties were wrong, but Will Smith was definitely wronger. The more wrong. More, yeah. I know that wronger is not a word.
I think so.
Why did you not know that I know that? Anyway.
Just experience.
So that's all I'm saying. Just basically the weird machismo that exists in taking care of your partner and or doing the chivalrous thing. Like, I absolutely have Frankie's back.
And I'd beat somebody up.
Oh yeah, I know that more so that Frankie's got my back. Because that's the more likely scenario is that my mouth will go off running and then Frankie will have to come beat somebody up.
That's true.
But I think it's just I don't know, an antiquated thought, and it also endorses violence, which I can't abide by. What are your thoughts there, Steve-O?
There's a lot.
Yeah, I know. I just word vomited for about.
Well, like even just the situation, because Will Smith has been going through a lot, like with his marriage and his relationship.
Mhm.
There's a lot to unpack just with that alone, like
Yeah.
separate from everything that happened.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of like controversy, not really, well, I guess controversy, but there's a lot of talks about like how he seemed okay with the joke until he got a look from his wife.
Yeah.
And you know, we're talking about this idea. It's almost like a showmanship of like masculinity, this
Mhm.
idea of, you know, I will protect my mate. And while I don't know necessarily if he was cognizant of all of these factors in the moment, this happened in a room full of peers, but it was also broadcast to millions of people.
Yeah.
Very
The
large
world
audience.
stage.
Like,
I mean, not just nation though; the entire world was watching that show.
yeah, and I feel like there's a degree of like showmanship and like signaling going on
Mhm.
on Will Smith's part, I guess.
Yeah.
And I all of that makes me uncomfortable, and I feel like uh I mean, Will Smith, if you want to be on the show, we can talk about this. We can unpack this
That'd be
together.
amazing. Of all the things you would pick to go to hash that shit out.
Here, right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this might be one of the safest spaces to do it, honestly. But I think that with the things that have been happening with his marriage and his relationship, it seems almost like and this is totally me projecting, I guess.
Sure,
So I can't confirm any of this. But Will Smith can when he's a guest on this show.
Absolutely.
But I feel like he's kind of been emasculated in a sense.
Oh yeah.
By the media, by different things, by
Mhm.
choices.
Which is all fucked up as well. Like, I mean, if you
Yeah.
have an agreement with your spouse, whatever the agreed upon scenarios with both of you, is nobody else's business.
Mhm.
You know.
And then for the whole entire world to be kind of assessing
Mhm.
with like a magnifying glass and looking at that kind of thing, like that's got to be embarrassing,
Sure.
like for him. And so all of that pent up stuff, and then for that to happen in that moment, you know, I feel like he snapped, and then he had to show, look, I am here for my wife. Despite all of these things, I am a good husband for her, and I'm not just showing the world this, but I'm showing her this.
Right.
And so I feel like a lot of that was at play. But also, this is a big part of the fucking problem with this idea of what it means to be a man, what it means to be strong, what it means to be, you know, a husband or a wife or a partner. Like, there's all these things. Like, I wish that people could just.
If Jada had a problem, she could have gone up there and slapped the shit out of Chris Rock.
Yeah. Why?
She has a lot less to lose than Will Smith does.
Was that well, never mind. But I just feel like if I'm so excited for a point in the future when we don't have to worry about these bullshit influences or these like bullshit ideas, and I don't know if we're gonna get there, but it is a little bit shitty to see people on the internet backing up Will Smith because they're also signaling and saying, well, I'm a tough man. I would totally, like, no one talks shit about my wife. And it's like, well, you know, where do we draw that line? Because we live in a country that values freedom of speech. And I understand that that doesn't protect you from the consequences of freedom of speech, but the law does. And when you physically assault somebody, it's against the law. So what are we willing to lose? Are we willing to lose our free speech, or are we willing to lose the ability to be protected from being punched in the face or slapped by someone whenever they get upset. Like,
So
I want freedom of speech, and I want to not be slapped because I wouldn't have a face if those rules weren't in place.
Jesus Christ,
I would not have a face.
Yeah, you'd be one of the first to go in martial law.
Immediately.
Yeah.
I would be like, this is not inherently effective.
But
I'd be gone.
Tangentially, I bluff. Yeah. Yeah. So the thing is, yeah, the contrast in escalation and response to me is the thing that, like, yes, the laws exist, but to me, Chris Rock wasn't doing anything out of the ordinary that a host at an award show wouldn't do. That's what a host does, is they riff and they make fun of everybody there. You're all open game. You show up, you're open game. If you don't show up, you're open game. If you're popular enough, if you are a celebrity, you're going to get roasted. And whether or not he knew that she had alopecia, not my problem. Like, I'm not an apologist, for this, but you go to a comedy show and you expect to laugh. Chris Rock was trying to get laughs. He did it in a shitty way, but you don't escalate to violence. Like, Chris Rock was doing what Chris Rock was paid to do.
Yeah.
And you go up there and slap the shit out of him. Like, in front of the world. In front of the world.
The world.
Ricky Gervais, or whatever his face is, hosted something a few years ago and just, like, essentially called the entire audience pedophiles and rapists, and nobody slapped him.
Right.
Yeah, probably because he was telling the truth, but but no, yeah, that's a good point. And I feel like it's even more infuriating watching this happen, because I almost feel like, so, like, more often than not, I feel like people get a free pass because they're celebrities, or because they're rich, or because they're, like, just large famous figures. And that's annoying. Like, if somebody hurts other people, then, like, I don't care if they're funny, or if I liked their TV show when they were younger, or if, daddy gave them a small loan of several $1,000,000. Like, if you're an asshole, you're an asshole. And if you, like, words, fine. But the second that your words actually cause, like, a physical consequence, or the second that your actions become physical, that's a problem.
What if the writer or director of the movie Where the Wild Things Are,
Spike Jonze,
what if Spike Jonze punched a child?
I think he has, actually. Isn't that what Where the Wild Things Are is about? It's just punching children.
Yeah. What if he, like, cut somebody's face? How would you feel about him?
I mean, I don't want Spike Jonze to cut a face.
Sure.
I don't think that he should get a free pass.
Okay.
If somebody cuts someone's face and it's not in self-defense, let them go to jail. Let them go to prison.
Right. I was just trying to find your hero. I don't know.
Like, I mean, we're having a similar conversation, actually. Hi, Mom. My mom's tuning in.
Hi, Mom. You've raised a wonderful son. He's a good guy. 2 wonderful sons.
I'll have to now I have to watch what I say. Like,
no, you don't. No, you don't.
But, like, we're having a similar conversation because there's a new Harry Potter game coming out, and J.K. Rowling has said some transphobic things, and it's like, where do we draw the line? Because yes, I believe in J.K. Rowling's ability. Thanks, Mom. My mom's,
that's not for you, that's for her. Anyway.
I believe in J.K. Rowling's ability to say whatever she wants, even if it's garbage, I guess. But because she has such a large platform, does that free speech have a negative impact? And at what point do we start, questioning whether we should punish that, or whether there should be consequences for that? And it's like, I don't know where to draw that line.
You can say all day long that Harry Potter doesn't belong to J.K. Rowling anymore; it belongs to us. You can say that. She's still getting paid. She's still getting very, very paid every time you purchase a movie ticket or a game or a book. She's very much getting paid for that.
Yeah.
There's so you can't remove yourself from the turf in that scenario. Like if you love Harry Potter and you buy anything Harry Potter, she's getting a percentage of it. Unfortunately.
Yeah. But like, see, and then there's also like, we pay taxes, and people in our government who have questionable motives, they get that money. So we're paying them. Like, what choice do we have in that matter? It's like, yeah, we can vote, but like, there's just like a whole shit ton of things. And it's like, I'm just tired of people within positions of power not having to suffer for the shit that they do. Like, and I mean, I personally don't feel strongly in regards to the J.K. Rowling thing specifically, but like I just wish people would stop being shitty, and specifically I wish famous rich people would stop being shitty. Like, just shut the fuck up, sit down, and if you want to make art, do it. If you want to say something, do it. If it's controversial, whatever. But don't be offensive and don't hurt people. And like, it's shitty that Chris Rock, like, sure, comedy, whatever, that's fine. And I personally think that the joke was fine. I don't think it was that shitty. I don't know what the fuck that is. Sorry. Someone in the someone in the chat
somebody could knock that out for us. But
Jesus Christ. Okay, I fixed it. Anyways, but like I don't think the joke was necessarily that offensive in the grand scheme of comedy. But I do have a problem with somebody slapping somebody in the face. So there's that.
Yeah, offensive is always going to be subjective to the times of what's going on. So it's going to vary vastly from decade to decade and year to year. But anywho's, that was all. I just wanted to just bring that to the forefront real quick. So that
I do want to bring up something that Trip Fantasy said earlier. Trip said, "I think it's embarrassing to have to resort to violence when something bothers you. Personally, I hate losing my temper. It makes you feel like a big steaming idiot."
And that was always my goal in high school, was if I could provoke my enemy into violence, I won. Because it was always a battle of wits for me.
And you still have your teeth?
I do. I do. Not all of them are real, but yes.
Okay. All right.